This is a person that's pretended to be my son, Mark Childers, out of Crump, Texas. I don't know that you can see this picture very well. I guess that everybody thinks this is a joke. It's not to me. Um, I've just put up some videos about the fact that I've got a whole bunch of videos up about my kidnapping from Buckingham Palace in 41 and being brought to Moulton, Alabama, and given the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey. I married to Childers. So, by the way, later I found out he was CIA. He was meant to marry me. But anyway, I was taken there, and Peggy Dempsey was a twin to Carl Preston Dempsey, and both were killed by their mother, Lina. She was unwed. And I have these posted on YouTube and Facebook. I recently got photographs of right after I was brought there and that family. And I've put them up on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, like I'm putting this up. Uh, I haven't said much about the fact that I've always stated that I don't know where my sons are, and I don't. I've wondered because one of the last times that I really saw them was when I had antifreeze put in me April Fool Day of '80. It was just prior to that, about 2 weeks prior to that. And I'd done a medical malpractice book, MD, A License to Kill, living in Marietta. It was about mind control murders done in patterns. I'd worked for doctors. One of the doctors mentioned in it was U.S. Congressman Larry McDonald. He was a urologist at Piedmont, and I wrote about the murders of forensic pathologist Warren and Rosina Matthews, who worked at Piedmont and were murdered in Cobb County. So it had some other names in it and all that. But anyway, that was the book I wrote, was writing, and this is from 76 till April Fool Day of '80. Larry Flynn, I've put up an endorsement where I was flown out there during a campaign to replace Larry McDonald because the plane he was on August the 31st of '83 was shot down by a Soviet or Russian MiG. The KAL he was on, passenger plane, veered into Russian airspace, and this is what you can do with mind control also. Put the pilot, I don't care how many you put in there, or flight attendants or air marshals, they can be under mind control too. So until you address the issue of mind control, it's not going to stop, any of it. But back to my sons. There was U.S. Marshal Conrad that was there just before the antifreeze was put in me, and my sons were there that night, but they were in another room. He had put them in another room, and he went back there and talked to him. He let me hear what he was saying, and it shocked me because my ex-husband had gotten him for me, and I thought his name was Marshal Conrad. I didn't know he was U.S. Marshal until later, after '80. This had happened, and I had been taken across the state line in the condition I was in '80, the antifreeze, and worked for the district attorney, Fred Simpson, there in Madison County, Huntsville, Alabama, in '80, and that's when John Lennon was killed. Mark David Chapman shot him. And the wrestler, governor of Minnesota, Jesse Ventura, tried to tell about this on True TV, at least the John Lennon shooting and Mark David Chapman in mind control. Last I heard, he was living in Mexico, had to leave. But the point being, I haven't seen my children or know if they're alive or dead. I was told about the Mark and Scott Childers, and I even met the one calling himself Scott back in 2010 till March of 2011. And I've spoken with the one claiming he's Mark, and I got to tell you, they'll fool you. I mean, when you can fool a mother with a voice and everything, and, in other words, they've got my son's identities, and the law enforcement knows it. So I haven't said much because in case somebody's got them in a witness protection program, and that's the reason for the doubles imposters. It also makes me look, all of this is I'm trying to tell it like they did to my father, Edward the Eighth. The whole thing about him was a lie and a takedown. I didn't find out about my real name and kidnapping until after 83, and the Brits told me. My father was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe Windsor, sister to artist Georgia O'Keefe from Madison, Wisconsin, Sun Prairie. My mom and Georgia, the family was born there. So I'm heir to the British Crown, and that makes my sons Mark and then Scott heirs. So what's cropped up now is I've gone on YouTube and I've put all this. The law doesn't work for me, so I guess Terry doesn't mind now since people are getting knocked off using Terry and Sawyer. He bought me this Android phone so I could upload it and use social media to try to gain help or tell it all. I've been kept penniless and beaten to a pulp. It's how they've done it. Just destroyed me. I can't. Anyway, the one that's claiming to be Mark, and I hesitate to put this even up here now. I've put the video, I hope it's on video, of the picture. He's not supposed to be able to get to my Facebook. I had him back on there, and then I realized he was just on there to see what was on my timeline. And he works out in Crump, and he works for a bank. And in reality, he's supposed to be a Texas Ranger. And he's assumed my son's identity. Hook, line, and sinker. So has the other one that's claiming to be Scott, who's a U.S. Marshal. It's this ongoing nightmare. But anyway, I blocked the one that's claiming to be Mark out in Texas from my Facebook. And also I showed a picture that he sent me back in April of 11. And he showed me where they wear masks, and they take them off. They look like Mark and Scott, and they really are trained. They have the background and everything. They're using where they went to school, their Social Security, all of it. So now then I blocked them. The one, I don't know, anyway, I blocked the one saying he's Mark so he can't get back on my Facebook. And it scares me to death because I know my Facebook has been hacked. And I don't know, there's nothing I can do about it. I've tried. And I don't want to do anything wherever my sons are to hurt them. But this is a picture that just came up. It was sent through Messenger. They're not supposed to be able to get to my Facebook. It's sent on, not notifications, on message is how he got it. He's, in response to my putting up about that's not my son Mark, and the other picture, how this guy's supposed to really look, because he did send that to me, and I put it up on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. He sent these, and you can't really see them, because I had to take it off of my Facebook by my other phone here and try to put it back on here so I can upload it. So you really can't see it, but there's about 4 messages and pictures that he's not supposed to be able to put on there. I blocked him. And it looks like the guy that played Monster on that Monster series, TV series years ago. He's got this huge forehead, and I don't know if you can tell it on here, but it was hard to photograph from the other phone. But anyway, it's a horror story that they've done to me, and I'm sitting here, and I had hoped that things would be told. They've really done me in, this country has, and my own members of my own family. But all of it's up there. But I guess what I wanted to say and go and right at the moment is I love my children. I've lived hoping that I'd get to see them again to clear my father's name, and God knows what they've done to me to clear my name, and get back to what's mine and repay the Brits and the Germans and a handful of Americans that's helped me. And I'd like